This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles show. This is episode 509. My name is Daniel Smrokowski, and I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and a Special Olympics Southern Tribal International Global Messenger. Before we begin today's episode and bring on the guest, who is already sitting here, but before we unmute her mic, a few housekeeping reminders. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, SpecialChronicles.com, where you can stream archives of over 730 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns and blogs, and sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox against SpecialChronicles.com. This week on the Special Chronicles podcast, we welcome one of our podcast listeners and a Special Olympics basketball coach, Izzy Carlson. So please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Izzy on the Special Chronicles podcast.
Hi, guys.
And I finally remembered to unmute our mics.
Yes, we got it.
So, and I, during that theme song, I usually have water with me when we record, and I forgot to bring
That's okay.
water.
It's all good.
It's all good. So, let's kind of first and let our listeners know, and for those, if you are just listening to the audio podcast, go check out the live stream on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn Live, and you can see us because I'm not in the typical studio. Usually I've got a green screen behind me, but we're actually at like 2 blocks away from my studio at our public library.
Nice.
And so audio podcast listeners, you guys probably don't hear any difference. You just hear audio all the time. But for those of you viewers, there's a a door behind us, or a door behind Izzy.
Blocks, we don't know what's in it.
And so hopefully there's nobody in there that comes out.
Yeah, cross your fingers.
All right, so with that, we actually, and this is probably the fastest time that I've ever had a listener on, but we met just because we're recording this on the 2nd of January, 2023, but this episode will air 2 days after my birthday, on the 16th of January. And so we met just a few weeks ago so I compete in a Special Olympics basketball with C-Spal, and the team that you coach was played against us. So you want to kind of share a little bit about, because with me and some of my teammates, we were just hanging out before our coaches came. We got there first.
Yes.
But you want to kind of share with our listeners how we first met?
Yes. So I help coach Gateway SRA basketball, and we arrived, and I saw Dan, and he was a familiar face because I listened to Special Chronicles, and I know his girlfriend, Georgia. So I went up and introduced myself, and we got to talking. And yeah, it was our team versus each other. It was such a great game.
Do we want to say who won?
Yes, Dan's team won. But it was such an awesome game, honestly. The sportsmanship was great. Everybody just played so well.
And the kind of the fun thing about that game is, so my coaches had told us if we make three regular, I think it was 3 regular.
Mm-hmm. I heard them shouting it. It was like 1, 2, 3.
3 regular shots. And so then we could try to make a 3-point. And in all the years I've been playing basketball, which is quite a long time. First time I ever made a 3-point
That's
basket.
awesome.
So
It was such a great shot. Everyone, the whole crowd was just so lively. And your coaches were like, yes.
yeah. Well, and it's amazing. Like, there was a lot of fans that were there.
Oh, yes.
So,
It was
yeah.
awesome. My mom and my sister were there, so that was great. They were
awesome.
cheering everyone on.
Awesome. I'm going to read this text during our sponsor break because it's about one of our new partners.
Cool.
So anyways, now that our listeners know how we got connected just a few weeks ago, and because it's always neat to meet listeners, because as I'm sure you know, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners know, when you record a podcast, usually if it's not in front of a live audience, usually like you're just in your studio. Like for me, it's just 2 blocks away from where we're sitting today, and you can't see the listeners. I mean, I know that you listen over there because you guys in the live stream interact with us on our social media. You will comment and share, but it's always neat to meet.
They're there, but like you don't know who they are.
Yes, yeah.
It's super cool. I bet it's a great feeling.
It is. And so now that our listeners know how we met, you want to show your connection to our Special Olympics movement and our special needs community?
Yes. So I started back getting involved into this community. I believe it was 2017 or 2018. One of our good friends, he's a great family friend of ours, he played on the Special Olympics basketball team at my high school. And it was one night my sister was like, come on, let's go check out his game. And I remember I was super crabby that night, and I was like, no, I know. But then we ended up going, and honestly, I'm so glad that I went because I would not be involved in this community if I didn't go that night. After that game, I remember going up to the coach and I was like, how can I get involved in this? Like, this is my crowd of people and this is where I want to be. And ever since then, that's how I got involved. I was assistant coach at my high school for the basketball teams, and that was awesome. I learned so much. I met so many amazing people. And then they just opened up a track and field team through my high school, which is very, very cool. And then after high school, I knew that I wanted to stay in this community and just volunteer through Special Olympics. And I did the Unified Cup for the 50th anniversary in Chicago.
Awesome. I was there too. We actually did a almost daily podcast coverage there.
How cool.
Yeah.
See, we didn't know each other, so I didn't know you were there.
I know. Well,
and for the USA Games.
And the USA Games, just the most recent ones, the 2022 in Orlando. Like all these, and I think that's what's awesome and so empowering about a Special Olympics movement, whether you're an athlete like myself or a coach and volunteer like yourself. There's so many connections that we can make. Like even, so I'm one of the 10 international global messengers, so those 10 of us athletes.
That's
and
awesome.
one of the other SSI GMs, she lives in Brazil, and she actually played in the final match of the Unified Cup, the first Unified Cup in Chicago. And then that was in July of 2018. We had our training in Washington, D.C. at the Special Olympics headquarters in January 2019. So like that was 6 months later, we met in person. we were just together 6 months ago. And so that story kind of reminded me of how we were at the same events, the 50th anniversary, the 2022 USA Games, and then what we'll get to later on in the episode, we'll give a listen to the tease, the upcoming 2023 World Games in Berlin, which I just got a text when I was setting up. My mom texted me and said, not only she was there as a volunteer, but she's also as a family credential as well.
Your mom is coming?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And probably one of my sisters too.
That's incredible.
So, because she used to study there in Germany in her last year of high school. And so she knows she's to teach German in high school. And
Oh, that'll be great. She's familiar with it.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll kind of get enough.
Yes.
I'll let you continue and tell us about your connection and your early years in Special Olympics and special needs community.
Alrighty. So I kind of just took off from there, and I said I am going to go to school for it. I got my associate's degree, and then I'm going to get my bachelor's probably next year. I'm going to go back either for special ed or recreation therapy. I'm not quite sure which one yet. But I mean, this journey has just been incredible. I've met so many amazing people. I did Capernaum through Young Life. You're familiar with that?
Yeah, we had somebody from that on the podcast who wrote a book.
Cool.
I think like one of the vice presidents wrote a book and was on this podcast.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Don't ask me what episode number, but yeah.
I won't. Don't worry. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I encourage everybody who hasn't been a part of this field or this community to get the chance to just volunteer, come out and support, because it is just, the crowd is just so genuine, and the players and the athletes are just, they want to get to know you, and they just want to be a part of your life as much as we want to be a part of theirs. So it's definitely just an amazing experience. Awesome.
Well, we'll get into much more of your story in the next segment about Opportunity Knocks, and then a mutual connection that we have. And then in the third segment, we'll get into about Special Olympics, and then we'll, in the last segment, we have some final thoughts, and then a final question at the very end of the episode. Cool. That you probably saw if you saw the show notes. But
yes.
So let's go ahead and click the button, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Special Chronicles show right on SpecialChronicles.com. Our guest is Izzy, and we'll be back after this short break. Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcast, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at SpecialChronicles.com/give. That's SpecialChronicles.com/give. Oh, and we're back. Folks listening. This is the Special Chronicles show. Our guest is Izzy. And if you couldn't tell by now, during these sponsored breaks, when we have a guest in the same studio, and I'm using air quotes, studio, sometimes we don't usually pay attention during the break. But hopefully you all paying attention, because hopefully by paying attention you can join our supporters. Because just a brief note, our 2023 Giving Campaign, we had in 14 years have had the most successful Giving Campaign.
That's incredible.
So two corporate partners, and then a bunch of supporters or donors that
awesome.
have done it. So we have raised the most. We will update that Given Campaign page later this month. Just cool. A bunch of that's excited. So let's continue on, and our connection to Opportunity Knocks is through my girlfriend Georgia. A lot of our listeners know, if you listen to the Georgia and Daniel show on this network, then you know who she is. And actually, the way that she and I actually connected was through through Special Olympics, but then through, I kind of had her on the podcast, and then after that, then we got together. So it was kind of, this podcast and Special Olympics can kind of make connections. But also because of with Opportunity Knocks, she's part of the Royal Catering. And a little fun fact is the Royal Catering is the ones that catered all. When back in 2018 for Special Chronicles, we had our 10-year anniversary celebration gala event in November 2018, and the Royal Catering through Opportunity Knocks had catered the event. Georgia didn't because she was speaking at our event, but
gotcha.
So that's a little connection, and we'll put a link in the show notes if listeners want to know more about Opportunity Knocks. But why don't we begin and have you share with the listeners how you were introduced to Opportunity Knocks?
So I was introduced to Opportunity Knocks about 2.5 months ago. My sister does respite for a family, and I went to watch them play at the OK Classic in the softball tournament. And their dad was trying to get me to work for Opportunity Knocks, and I was a little hesitant because I was like, I already have a job, but I'm so glad that I made the decision to work at Opportunity Knocks, and that their dad hooked me up with it because it is incredible. The atmosphere there, the people there, just everyone is so welcoming and inviting, and I love it.
Awesome. Well, I just made a quick note. You mentioned the OK Classic softball tournament. Mm-hmm. Just the last one that was just a few months ago.
Yeah.
After work, I actually went and saw Georgia's game, the last couple games.
Gotcha.
So I don't know, were you at the one that was just a couple months ago?
Yes.
Yeah. So
it's another event.
Another event. So,
oh my Lord!
That should be a little Easter egg for our listeners. Yeah. You got to count how many events in this episode. How many events we were at that didn't know each other.
We didn't even know.
So
it's crazy.
It's like a little Easter egg for our listeners. But yeah, so share with us now a bit about because when you're not coaching Special Olympics, when you're not going to school, you are a staff at Opportunity Knocks. So can you share with the listeners? And for listeners, if we say okay, we don't mean the word okay. We mean Opportunity Knocks.
Yes.
Just like us all for Special Olympics. Uh-huh. All right. So share with us about what your job is at Opportunity Knocks.
So at OK, I am a full-time program leader. I just started at the end of October. And we basically were a day program. We're working towards more full days. Again, I just started there, so I'm kind of just still learning the ropes. But from my experience there right now, I absolutely love it. Everyone has just been nothing but amazing to me, and I just love the atmosphere. It's so calm and gentle. It's just awesome. Awesome.
Well, another little fun fact, Georgia's mom, I think, is on the board. I think she's the treasurer, or she's on the board for Opportunity Knocks.
I didn't know that.
Because she's been involved with, I think, since Opportunity Knocks got started.
Yeah, in 2009, I think.
Yeah. So like one of the first, I think they call the participants Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah. So like one of the first Warriors. So
with Georgia.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So what's can you tell us a little bit about what your favorite program to lead is and yeah.
So right now, in the last session, I just led community ops, which was basically we went to the food pantry for about an hour and a half, and we did whatever they needed us to do, whether it was like packing bread or setting up tables for the events, packing snacks in a bag, fruits and vegetables, and that's been incredible. It's been awesome getting to help out the community as much as we can and seeing my warriors thrive doing it. It's great.
Awesome. And tell us about what some of the other programs that Opportunity Knocks has, because we have listeners, as you know, across the country, across the globe, but there's also a lot of local listeners too, and so maybe we might have a listener that might be moving to the Chicago area and that might want to get involved. But
for sure,
kind of give us an overview of what some of the programs of Opportunity Knocks are.
Yeah, so like I said, Opportunity Knocks is a day program. It goes from, our goal is just to go from 9 to 6. But right now, Mondays are our virtual days. So Mondays we do like a morning welcome. We do art class. We do exercise, and we eat lunch. And then Tuesdays, it is 9 to 12 and 3 to 6. This upcoming session. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays, it'll be 9 to 6. And Fridays, 9 to 12 and 3 to 6. We try to incorporate, we have something called views. V is for vocal, I is for interdependence, E is for experience, W is for wellness, and S is for social. So we try to incorporate all those aspects into our lessons and our days. We touch on life skills, arts and crafts, exercising, and just honestly social interaction. It's great. This upcoming session, I am leading communication.
Awesome.
So we're going to work on like dining table etiquette and how to communicate appropriately and effectively. So I'm stoked about that. But it's awesome.
Neat. And I'm sure that you probably have a lot of favorite parts of your job at OK, but can you maybe and I guess it doesn't really have to be one.
Yeah.
But like, is there what's one of your favorite parts of the job at OK and why?
My favorite part about OK, there's so many, like you just said. But gosh, one of my favorite has to be the people. When I first started there, I was super nervous because I didn't really know anybody. I kind of went in there just knowing some of the staff when I interviewed. But the Warriors have just been nothing but so inviting and wanting to get to know me, and I've been wanting to get to know them too. So it's just awesome, the relationships that I've formed for the little time that I've been there and how comfortable I'm getting around them. It's
awesome.
great.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go to take a short break to hear about two of our partner sponsors, because if it wasn't for that, it's free to listen or watch, but it does cost money every month to upload, live stream, distribute, all that. And so when we come back, we'll get into Special Olympics on your involvement as a coach and volunteer and all that fun stuff.
Cool.
And I mean, that's why I'm sporting a Special Olympics athlete leadership polo here. I'm wearing a sweatshirt because actually I actually got hot when we were. Well, when I was setting up the equipment, I was like, should I take this off?
Yeah.
But,
it's super nice out.
It is. It's like, it's funny, like between Christmas and New Year's, I think we went from, in Chicago, we went from winter to spring in like half a week.
Oh my gosh, I was just saying that. It was like, with the wind chill, it was like negative 25. And then 2 days later, it was like 50 degrees. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It felt like spring, honestly.
I know, it does. I think, and the funny thing is, before I went on my vacation from United, vacation and holiday time off, it was the day before that big cold winter storm. And looking at the weather for this Wednesday in just 2 days, we're going to get some more snow. So I'm like, I thought I missed it, but like, maybe that's what I get for taking the last 2 weeks off from work is then to come back to more snow.
I love the snow. Do you like the snow?
So I was born in Long Beach, California, in Southern.
Gotcha.
And only lived there for 4 years, but it's okay, but
you prefer the beach?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Okay. So we'll go ahead and take a short break. Our guest is Izzy. We're here on the Special Chronicles show on SpecialChronicles.com, and we'll be right back. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and really is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they're literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at SpecialChronicles.com/ComEd. That's SpecialChronicles.com/ComEd. Support for Special Chronicles comes from United Airlines, Bridge Disability Business Resource Group. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with United Airlines and the Bridge BLG. Bridge BLG is committed to being an ally for all employees and customers with disabilities. Bridge helps to create internal awareness to keep accessibility needs in mind and partner with key organizations to empower disability inclusion for employment and travel. Bridge, connecting people of all abilities. Book your travel today on United.com or on the award-winning United app. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at SpecialChronicles.com/United. That's SpecialChronicles.com/United. And we're back. Quick, before we get into Special Olympics, before going on air, you said, I was telling you that, I don't know, should I say this on air?
I don't know which way you're going, so.
Okay. Technically, we kind of are still waiting to hear from United's comms team if that ad copy is okay to read on air. But I mean, they love if you. I don't know if you subscribe to on Special Chronicles newsletter, but at the beginning of the newsletter, I put a quote in there that the comms team for United Airlines had basically praised this podcast.
That's awesome.
So, fingers crossed that ad read is listeners. Pray that I don't have to edit out. Editing audio is okay, but
hopefully not.
Editing video takes more time, and that's why we try not to do a lot of video editing on this podcast. But you said that before we went on air that you usually fly on United.
Yes, I just booked my Berlin trip with United.
Oh, awesome.
So did my mom.
Awesome. Well, I think I just told you that. So if you and our listeners, if you listen to our Unified at Work series on this podcast, just go to SpecialChronicles.com/Unified at Work. All one word. I'm one of the first 4 original Special Olympics athletes that United hired 3 years ago.
Wow.
About a year ago, they hired 4 in Denver. One of them is one of our listeners and supporters in Colorado, and then 6 in Houston. And then they're going to expand to other hubs this coming year.
And how did you find out about working there?
So it's through this inclusive employment program through Special Olympics.
Okay.
And so, because like our uniform is co-branded, like just like you see right here, Special Olympics Athlete Leadership, on our uniform, it's Special Olympics and United.
Oh, cool.
So so depending on what time you fly, like I think, and technically Special Olympics International books my travel, even though I've got travel benefits, but
yes.
When it comes to Special Olympics, they book, and so I think I'm leaving on June 14th, but I'm not exactly...
14th?
Is that what I said? 14th. 14th, June
Gotcha.
14th, I think. Whatever that Wednesday is, I think. I don't know.
Yes.
To like the 26th.
That is a 14th.
To the 26th. So I don't know when you guys are flying.
We're flying down. We leave Friday the 16th. We arrive the 17th early in the morning.
So you probably arrive the day of the opening ceremonies?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we leave on the 25th. My birthday's the 24th.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm. So, fun. So you obviously not going to see me because I'm obviously, technically I haven't requested it off my supervisors. So if my supervisors are listening to this, I will.
Take notes.
Take notes. See, maybe I don't have to email them now.
Yeah, maybe this is you're putting it in.
I put it. Yeah, just when you have a podcast, just say it on.
2 in 1. You're taking off work and you're recording a podcast.
Yeah. Okay. So what? So you won't see me until probably when we're in Berlin. Hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah.
We use we use WhatsApp when we communicate when we're out of the country. So
gotcha.
I don't know if that's what you guys use, but that's WhatsApp makes it pretty easy to communicate when you're out of the country. But so when you do fly out of Chicago, I'm assuming you're going to fly out of Terminal 1. there will probably be 3 other service ambassadors, 3 other athletes will probably be working. Most likely your flight will probably be in the afternoon, right?
I believe I think we depart at like 7 a.m.
Oh, in the morning?
I think
okay.
so.
Well, and technically, I'll probably start in this March. Our work schedules are going to change. So I don't know which service ambassadors will be there, but either at the lobby or at the gate, look for the co-branded uniform.
I will.
Blue shirts and so Special Olympics United. Not only for you, but for our listeners too. If you guys, if any of our listeners are flying to Chicago, Denver, or Houston right now, I can't tell you what the other 2 hubs this year are going to, because that is in Tono right now. Kind of public. It's weird. The comms team put out a video, and they kind of said one of the cities, but I thought it was. But
like discreetly.
Yeah, I mean, and technically, I think it was even on LinkedIn. Like they put a video. I'm like, this is not public yet. I'm like, how do you?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well, now I wonder if the comms team is really going to want to keep sponsoring this podcast.
Oh my gosh. They will. Okay, so. Okay, can you tell that we really want all of you guys to fly on United? Fly United.
Because United connects people, unites the world, and Bridge really is connecting people of all abilities. Okay, so now we're 31 minutes into this episode, and we really need to keep this under an hour, because otherwise I can't. It'll make scheduling the live stream a little bit more difficult if it goes over an hour.
Gotcha.
So anyways, Special Olympics. That's happened before. It's not the first time the microphone has fell. Okay. So if our listeners, because who knows, maybe the listeners might be pausing this episode and you might just be tuning in now. Or maybe, yeah. But if you remember from the top of this episode, you shared with our listeners that we shared how we first met because you coach basketball. So tell us about the sports that you coach in Special Olympics. And yeah, is basketball the only sport? Or?
No, I've coached, I've been assistant coach on soccer and track and field. Soccer was very cool.
Soccer or for our international listeners, football?
Football, yes. Yes. I forget sometimes that it's called football.
I know. Anyways.
Yes, I'm not very experienced in soccer, so I will say I definitely learned a lot coaching that too, and a lot of my athletes helped me learn more about soccer, which was really cool.
Can you repeat that again about you said that the athletes taught you? Oh.
Yes. I was helping the athletes learn, but also the athletes were helping me learn. Soccer is not my strong suit. So we had a lot of great soccer players on our team, and they were helping me learn. They were trying to get me to bounce the ball like off my foot, like up in the air a few times. Hard, but I got it like twice. So that was pretty cool. And then track and field. Track and field is definitely one of my favorites. We just went down to the summer games at ISU. Some of our athletes went down there for track.
I was there too.
Oh my Lord. We need to start a list of everything that we've been to. Because there's been so many.
It's another Easter egg.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, we need to have, one of our listeners needs to just.
I hope someone is taking notes on this.
Yeah, somebody take notes.
There's been so many events.
Take notes how many events we were at before we met. Okay.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we went downstate. That was awesome. We went on the field and we held our banner for our SRA.
Yep.
It was awesome. I really got to connect more with my athletes. Yes, it was awesome. And yeah, I've coached basketball since about 2017, through my high school, like I stated earlier. And that was just incredible too.
Awesome. Now this next part is talked about it. This was probably the first story that we shared on this episode, but we're going to repeat it again since we're talking about Special Olympics. But in addition to, so you coach the Special Olympics basketball team that my team, C-Sport, played against a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
A few weeks ago. I don't know what date. The week before Christmas.
Was it December? December something.
Anyways, I think the last game was 2022, at least for us. I don't know.
Yes, it was for us too.
Yeah. Okay. So,
the 20th. I think it was the 20th.
Yeah, maybe. So I'm gonna just pull up. I made a note on my phone. I actually had to dictate it to my mom so we would know. And I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to kind of have you comment on. Well, I'll ask you. So I wanted to share something great about a Special Olympics basketball coach the other day. I don't know if what she did is a common coaching method or if she invented this herself. But what she did, what she told our team is don't be trying for 3-point shots until you've made 3 regular shots in the game. And she was encouraging good teamwork among us and trying to raise our skill level. And here's the best part. I made 3 regular baskets, and then within the last minute, the last minute of the game, I attempted a 3-pointer, and I made it. And in all my years of playing, it was my first 3-pointer. So pretty
That's awesome.
Excellent coaching. So maybe I'm sure all of you listening are probably applauding. So we'll just give a applause. If we had a producer, I'm sure the producer would have played that.
Yes, for sure.
And so what kind of based on that, was wondering if you could comment on what it was like seeing me make my first 3-point basket, even though you were coaching the other team, and then kind of go into that and tell us a little bit about your coaching method.
Yeah. So seeing your 3-point was just awesome. I mean, the crowd was like, "Oh my gosh, like that's awesome."
Kind of like
yes,
that.
but like 10 times more.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I love cheering for the other team always, because we're just having fun and it's a game, you know. And one of my coaching methods, one of my favorites, is I like to encourage mistakes. It is okay to fail because that is how we grow. And I like to tell people it's not that serious. And just play like we're just having fun, you know. It's just a game. And yeah, I really encourage just positivity throughout the entire game and to keep your head up. Even if you miss 5 baskets in a row, that's okay. Maybe you'll make the 6th. And if you don't, that is okay too. We're all having fun. And it's just like one big game of practice, you know?
I kind of speaking to that, it was one of the athletes on your team, I think, like he and I forgot his name, but he didn't make baskets throughout the game, but then he finally made. I think even one of my coaches I overheard her say she was hoping that he would make a shot, and then I think he did make a shot.
Max, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he always wants to get the buzzer beater. And I'm always like, come on. And I'm like, please get in there. Like, and when it's in the air, I'm like anxious, like hoping that it goes in.
Well, kind of speaking of that kind of buzzer beater shot, when just before the pandemic, one of the games, I think this was, I believe, the beginning of 2019. I forgot the exact time of the game, but one of our, it wasn't one of my teammates on the team this season, but about 3 years ago, it was an away game, and it was like, I think it was at like the very last second of the game, like when the buzzer went off, that would be the end of the game.
Yeah.
But he made a shot, and he made like the winning shot very end of the game.
I love when people make buzzer beaters because it's just so exhilarating and it's just great.
Yeah. So that's I'm hopefully if any of our listeners are hearing you share a little bit about your coaching method, that it will hopefully encourage them to not just volunteer, but to coach goal to be a unified partner with our unified sports, and so yeah. Yeah. I'm making some notes because there's probably going to be one or two clips that we'll probably be pulling out for this episode. Anyways, because I guess that's what podcasts do now. If you go on Instagram now, podcasts just share 1 or 2 minute clips.
Gotcha.
To get people to listen. Okay, so let's move on. You volunteered, as we said, at the Special Olympics USA Games 2022 in Orlando, Florida this past summer. Tell us a little bit about why you wanted to volunteer and what was this your first national games that you volunteered at? But tell us why you wanted to volunteer and why you wanted to volunteer, and then kind of go into what your volunteer experience and role was.
Yes. So this was my first USA Games. The previous one was in Los Angeles, right?
No, that was the World Games.
That was the World Games.
The previous USA Games. Previous USA Games was in Seattle.
Seattle.
And then before
okay.
that, it was in Princeton, New Jersey.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, that was my first one. And I remember I was just looking into the World Games one night on my computer, and I came across the USA Games, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go. So I called my aunt, and my aunt, she has a condo in Florida about an hour and a half away from Orlando, and my aunt, she's a go-getter. If you tell her we want to do something, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. And she was like, let's do it. And her and I went down there together. We kind of did our own things. I mainly did basketball. I did team check-in and athlete check-in one day.
Speaking of the basketball,
Were you at the basketball one?
Sort of. I mean, there was the Honored Guest Lounge was
that was upstairs, right?
Yes, and there's a few times when we went in there because you can get free snacks. Tell about the free food.
I wish I would have known you because I would have gotten a free snack.
I know. See, that's another place we will. But yeah, if we would have known each other, then you could have texted me and I could have
gotten a free snack.
Yeah, or maybe even for your whole team.
Yes.
Because our Illinois team. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, you probably volunteered with all the different teams.
Yes, but it was cool.
Yeah.
And so then I mainly did basketball. When I did basketball, I did the stats. So I was sitting next to the scorekeeper and just recording all the attempted shots, the fouls, the successful shots, just all of that stuff. And then one day we did bocce. That was so fun. I met these amazing volunteers. My aunt did bocce with me as well. And then, we did the closing ceremony. That was so much fun. There was a big dance party with all these cool bright lights.
Yeah, we will.
You were there too. Let me guess.
So we were there too. We will kind of sit up in the stands, but then the staff that another SSI GM that we were with, we kind of. Because we were sitting kind of, I guess, where the honored guests would sit kind of up in the stands, technically we won't, I don't think we were really allowed to kind of go on the floor where all the teams were. But maybe because we're also athletes, we were.
Yeah, you're why not?
So our staff kind of took us we kind of snuck in on to
Good. It was so fun. And they had a really good singer. And then we had these Amazon bracelets that lit up and matched.
Yeah. And after we left that, I was hoping to kind of take that home, but
Did you get one?
I did get one, and I was hoping to take it home. But when we left, I don't know if it fell off my wrist. I don't know where. Somewhere I lost it when we were leaving. But.
I have two, so you can have one of mine.
Okay. All right.
I was just going through my boxes of all my things, my random things, and I found two.
Awesome.
So next time I see you, I'll bring you one.
Awesome. So, So for the sake of time, we'll kind of
keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving. But what would you say to encourage other listeners to volunteer at the USA Games or at the upcoming? Hopefully, it's not too late to volunteer at the World Games in Berlin this June. But either at the next USA Games will be in Minnesota in 4 years, 3 years. I don't know.
2026.
Is that what it is? Yeah. See? Somehow. Okay, maybe that's what. I'll ask my producer to fact check me.
And Jersey Mike's already came out and said that they're going to sponsor it again.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. Which, I don't know if you went to that Jersey Mike's Day of Giving.
Yes, I did.
And I was going to pay, but when my dad and I went, I told them that I was going. And they gave me a free sandwich.
I only go to Jersey Mike's now because they sponsor Special Olympics.
Yeah. So that's
big fan.
And if you go downtown in Union Station, they have a Jersey Mike's now.
Yes, so, I saw that at Union Station. I was just there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So I was just there last week because I had to my reduced venture card. I had to renew that. Gotcha. Okay. So what would you say to, because we have 15 minutes and we need to get through the next two sponsor breaks and final last segment. But what would you say to encourage our listeners to volunteer at USA Games or World Games?
I would say just get involved. It is one of the most eye-opening experiences that you'll ever come across. And I've never been in a room full of so much joy and happiness and kindness and respect. These athletes are amazing. The volunteers that you'll meet are incredible. The coaches, people who work for Special Olympics. Special Olympics is just it's an awesome organization that I'm so glad that I get to be a part of, and I'm sure you are as well. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, there's a lot of kind of things coming off of what you say, but I want to share a quote, and actually maybe I could read it, but I'm going to have you read the quote, even though it's in my voice. But okay. I'll have you read the quote, and this is a quote that I gave Special Olympics International for something, but I'll have you read this quote.
Hate can be met by love. Us athletes show love when we are met with hate. That's exactly the way I always have been. No matter what, when people have said bad stuff about me and my friends, I smile. I listen and I stay happy and joyful when interacting with them. That's what I've always shown. I love that quote.
Yeah.
I've been taught always just kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
Even if someone is mean, kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the best you could do.
Yeah. So that's and I think that kind of ties in with what you said of what us athletes kind of bring to society, not just on the sports field, but even going off of the sports field, such as the podcast or just anything that we do outside of the playing field or basketball court.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment with Special Olympics. Guaranteed, as soon as you walk through the door, you'll be met with a smile. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So you was just a volunteer, just like my mom did, but you and I think you said your sister?
My mom.
You and your mom was to the volunteer at our upcoming Special Olympics World Games in Berlin 2023 this coming June. And if I could find the banner on here somewhere. There we go. I will put it up on the screen for our viewers. So it is the 17th to the 25th of June, 2023. You can go to berlin2023.org to learn more and to register to volunteer. We'll put links in the show notes if any of you listening want to. Hopefully you can still sign up to volunteer.
Definitely should.
To tell us why you wanted to volunteer and what you hope this volunteer experience will be at the World Games. Because the USA Games, there was some countries from the Caribbean. So it was kind of like a national and mini World Games.
Yeah, it's going to be over 7,000 athletes are going to be there, which is huge.
So tell us why you wanted to volunteer at these World Games in Berlin and what you hope your volunteer experience will be like and kind of the impact that you hope volunteering will be on the global level.
Yeah. I wanted to volunteer for Berlin just to continue my involvement with Special Olympics at an international level. And I want to meet just a bunch of new people. When I said it a little bit earlier, when I did the Unified Cup in Chicago in 2018, my sister and I became super close with Special Olympics Nigeria. And we met a few athletes from Special Olympics Italy and Abu Dhabi, which was awesome.
Wait, were you there in Abu Dhabi?
No, I wish I was, but we met some athletes from there.
I was there.
Were you? Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous.
Okay.
I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that experience definitely changed my life for the better. And I want to experience that again on an international level. And I've never been to Germany. I'm 50% German, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I speak no German, but yeah, I'm just very excited for that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I'm sure we'll stay in touch, and then hopefully we can meet up in Berlin. Mm-hmm. And if you, one of the most recent episodes, it's called Mentoring Your Tribe, and those are a travel company that can help people with their travel.
Oh wow,
Berlin.
That's
so
awesome.
It's episode 504.
You guys should check that out so you can come down to Berlin.
Yes. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our last sponsor break. When we come back, we will get to some final thoughts because we've got like 10 minutes to wrap up this episode. And our guest is Izzy, a listener to this. I guess the kids say pod. Is that what they say?
I think so.
Yeah. A listener to this pod, as well as a Special Olympics coach and a staff member at Opportunity Knocks. And we'll continue with the final segment after this final break right here on SpecialChronicles.com. Let's see if I know which button to press. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting, the easiest, most affordable option to get started in podcasting. At Special Chronicles, we proudly host our weekly podcasts with Podbean and highly recommend you use Podbean Podcast Hosting to get started in podcasting today. Sign up for an unlimited hosting plan and get 1 month free now to get started in podcasting today when you visit SpecialChronicles.com/Podbean. That's SpecialChronicles.com/Podbean. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard, the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard today using our StreamYard referral link when you visit SpecialChronicles.com/StreamYard. That's SpecialChronicles.com/StreamYard. So it does save time. Listen to funny, don't know what we're talking about. Okay. I guess it's Izzy.
I think I'm so muted.
Oh, you also
There we go.
There we go. See, I'm glad you told me before
Before I started talking.
That would have been, you listeners I would have heard because we're like in the same studio.
It would have just been a conversation with Dan and I.
Yeah. And then the listeners will only hear one side of the conversation. Okay, so you want to share with our listeners how some social media plugs so how they can follow you on Instagram,
Sure.
and then as well as Opportunity Knocks and Special Olympics.
Yes, you can go ahead and check out my Instagram if you want. Izzy Carlson 11. I don't post much, but you can check it out. And then yes, our Instagram for Opportunity Knocks is OK Warriors.
And I should for the viewers, we'll put that up on the screen. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could check out our website if you're interested in just getting to know more about it.
Yeah.
We'd love if you checked it out.
OpportunityKnocksNow.org. So we'll put that link in the show notes. And then, as we talked about Special Olympics, you want to connect with your local program. If you're in Illinois, like Izzy and me, it's SOILL.org. But if you're in another state or country, SpecialOlympics.org to find your local program to get involved as an athlete, a coach, a volunteer, a unified partner, a sponsor.
Yeah,
Special
there's a
Olympics
space for everyone there.
Yes.
So do not feel nervous or shy. Special Olympics always is a place for everybody.
And with that, before we get to that final question, you have any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the Special Chronicles show?
I just want to thank you for bringing me on. I've really enjoyed myself, and we've had some great conversation, and we found out we've been to a lot of the same places at the same time, so that's been super cool to find out.
Easter eggs. So
Easter eggs.
Listeners, look for all the Easter eggs, and I don't know, maybe we should have like a giveaway or something.
Yeah, we can have like a poll.
We should. We'll put on our Special Chronicles Instagram. We'll put up when this episode drops. We'll put up a poll and let you guys know. You might have to remind me, but we'll put up a poll and let you guys see if you guys can count all the Easter eggs.
There's been so many I lost count.
I know, I lost count too. You know what? I will, before this episode airs, I'll send you like a private copy of it, and then we can listen back and then count, and that way we
yes.
know. Okay, so with that, to introduce the final question, because the final question I always conclude these podcast conversations with, and let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity, and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Shirt on. Were you at the
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
Before we get to the final question, the Easter eggs just keep coming.
Two more.
I'll let you tell me, because you will.
We were both at Cop on a Rooftop
in Countryside
at the Dunkin' Donuts
and
the Ducky Derby.
And yeah, well, speaking of that Cop on a Rooftop, that I remember meeting somebody that said that they're going to volunteer at the World Games.
Yeah, and I was trying to like put the pieces together. I'm like, wait, was that Dan? I can't remember, but it was. Who do you know? Oh my gosh!
2 more to wrap up the episode. Okay, folks, you guys really have to count these Easter eggs.
Yes.
Okay, so as you know, inclusion and the inclusion revolution is a big message in our Special Olympics movement. I mean, even inclusion is important here at Special Chronicles with my producer and business manager and our entire team here at Special Chronicles. But in preparation for our podcast recording today, I saw on one of your recent Instagram posts a T-shirt that you were wearing. I think you were wearing it at the USA Games in Orlando, and on it it said the word or the phrase "inclusion everywhere, please." Mm-hmm. So first, that's the perfect title for this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to title this episode 509, Inclusion Everywhere, Please.
Good.
And then second, what's your dream as it relates to this final question? And I asked all the guests, so I'll do the same with you. What does inclusion mean to you?
Well, to start, Inclusion Everywhere, Please. I got that from this organization. It's called Able Fables, and they are an inclusive author. And they make merch, and they donate some of the profit to making inclusive parks throughout the U.S., which is super cool.
Awesome.
And honestly, my dream, it's a very good question. My dream is just to see this society become more inclusive and more accessible. Like I just stated, accessible parks. I cannot stress that enough, how awesome that would be. Just to see all kids being able to enjoy themselves and not have any limitations. And then what does inclusion mean to me? Inclusion means to me making people feel like they belong. And that goes for everybody. Making people feel valued, and despite differences, just coming together as people and seeing people for their hearts. As Tim Shriver, there's this video that he just a speech that he just said at the Boys and Girls Club of America in Chicago. He was saying, let's just look past differences and accept humans as all together, because we're all people at the end of the day, and differences should not mean their value.
Awesome. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. I know my good friend Tim Shivo I've hung out with him a couple of times. And he's been on this podcast a couple of times.
Yes, I've listened to some of them when he was on there.
Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Anyways, thanks for coming on. And we'll have to have you on again. Maybe
yes, I would love that
after Berlin for sure recap your volunteer experience. I guess it's been Izzy. We'll be back next week. And stay tuned. Every Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time, a new episode drops right here on the Special Chronicles show on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll be back. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, SpecialChronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, SpecialChronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Daniel Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.